Skadoosh Ninjas, and welcome back. Joey Moss with Bad Boy Gaming. We're going to break down the top 25 most valuable cards in War of the Spark. It's pre-release weekend. So all these prices you're going to see right now are right before pre-release arrives. What's going to happen over the weekend? We're going to find out. Expect a follow-up video. But for right now, getting into pre-release weekend, these are the prices. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, by all means, hit the subscribe button. And you can get all the latest and greatest fun stuff that comes from Magic the Gathering from Joey Moss. Hooray. Okay, let's get into it. Starting off at the very bottom, I think there's 27 cards. I know, I got a little carried away. I have fun here. The Elder Spell, $3.28. You're just destroying any number of target planeswalkers, and then you choose a planeswalker you control, put 2 loyalty counters on it for each planeswalker destroyed this way. I believe this card's going to maintain a decent price while it's in standard because of just so many planeswalker builds. Could this leak over into other formats? I don't know. It's not every day you see a whole bunch of planeswalkers being ran in other formats like it is right now in the current standard. That's my argument. But for right now, this is a very, very powerful card. Any build running walkers, you're going to want to play this if you're running especially a heavy amount of them. Great sideboard against Super Friends. Super Friends is a deck basically that consists of primarily planeswalkers. The majority of the spells in that deck are planeswalkers. This would annihilate that deck. 3 or 4 copies of. Easy peasy. There you go. Let's get into the next card. So that's like number 27. 26, Dread Horde Invasion, $3.43. I was kind of surprised to see this one at $3.43, to be honest. I was putting it in my bulk rare pile that I have amassed over time in the past couple days whenever I pulled it. So I was thrown off. I had to grab it out of my bulk pile. I'm like, oh, okay, it's $3.43. Not bad. It finds ways to pump, if you could find ways to make a zombie larger early on in the game, maybe... Call me crazy, but maybe some weird Golgari build? I don't know. Maybe. Or just a way to continuously, splash, tokens, or splash your tokens with +1/+1 counters. It'll be pretty cool. I think I'm going to try. I'm going to try to make a deck where this thing hits and hits hard early on, because whenever a zombie token you control with power 6 or greater attacks, it gains a lifelink until end of turn. That can be really devastating, but also put you into a great spot early on in a game if you can get that to happen, But even if they're able to destroy your zombie, let's say you got it to 4/4, okay? Guess what happens? It can just come back. It starts with a 1/1, but it starts making its way back up again. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and amass 1. I think it's a cool card. I'm not sure. Again, I was surprised by $3.43, but again, in the right build, man, some of these cards, they're going to surprise us. Nissa, Who Shakes the World, $3.54. Show me the mana. That's right. This thing just can blow up your mana. Kaboom. But it's kind of limiting because whenever you tap a forest for mana, add an additional green mana to your mana pool. So you have to primarily be running forests in your build for this to really for you to take advantage of it, honestly. And then the +1's not too bad. The -8, really impactful. Decks that turn your lands into creature and swing. Turn your lands into creatures and swing. Minus the S there, or plus the S. That's kind of the way you're going, because you get an emblem with lands you control of indestructible, and then search your library for any number of forest cards, put them out of the battlefield, tap, shuffle your library. That's its ultimate. Pretty sweet. Could be interesting with Vivian's Arcbow. Keep that in mind. You might see something with that in standard. Apex Hybrid. I expected a little more out of this card. If only it were a merfolk. I think if it were a merfolk, this card would probably be at $5-6 right now, and probably going to climb. But the fact that you can proliferate twice, you proliferate and then proliferate again, that's a huge payoff. Basically, any deck that's reliant on +1/+1 counters, you're going to want yourself an Apex Hybrid. It's kind of a steep casting cost. It's 5, but not really. It has flying and trample. It's a 4/5. This could be one of those cards that takes off. Speculation. I understand. Look at, what was it, Hydroid Krasis. That card was sitting upon release. I want to say it was at $7-8 before pre-release weekend. Within 2 weeks' time, that thing was at like $35. It was ridiculous. And now the price has come back down. I think it's sitting around $20. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we'll see. Vivian's Arcbow, $3.64. Great. It is great for accelerating a deck. Absolutely. You tap X. You only pay 2, though, to bring it out, which is pretty cool. It is a legendary artifact. However, you can run 4 and just discard additional copies of Vivian's Arc Bow. You have to tap X, tap, discard a card, look at the top X cards of your library. You may put a creature card with converted mana cost X or less among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This definitely will see play in your commander builds. There's a lot of cards. Very, very, very much so commander geared. Like, they're all geared towards commander. Not all, but quite a lot. You're going to hear me say EDH or commander probably another 6 or 7 times in this video. Ral Storm Conduit, $3.96. Storm builds if there's room. I mean, there's not really too much room in storm builds as it is, and this is a 4-drop, and usually storm builds want to, get off and move it pretty quick. But at least in standard, if you're going that storm route, or trying to at least, which you can, Ral Storm Conduit probably is going to be in your build. Any deck that caters to instants and sorceries, of course, and it can go infinite. There are some combos out there where it goes infinite. I think I demonstrated one several videos ago, a couple weeks ago, when we were previewing the card. But yeah, it's a decent card. It's not bad. It definitely will see some play. It's going to see play in... I wonder how it's going to really work in like maybe some Izzet Drake builds and all that. I'd like to see that played out. We'll find out. Feather the Redeemed, Commander, heavy, hooray. EDH players are in a frenzy. They really are. Everyone who, not everyone, but a lot of Commander players are very interested in this card being their commander with good reasons. It's a 3-drop, so it's pretty decent to cast. Legendary creature, Angel, flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So it works great with instants and sorceries that just basically target a creature you control. This can get out of hand rather quickly. I'm really curious to see how those EDH decks do turn out. I'm not a huge EDH player simply because of time. I know, I understand, and I have no friends. I need friends. If you want to be my friend, hit F for friend in the comments, please. Thank you. I need friends. Bolus's Citadel, $4.27. Life gain and drain builds, of course, most likely to see play in EDH. For the memes, it's definitely a meme-ish card. I'm sure I could build a deck in Standard and just meme someone to death with no problem. It's a legendary artifact. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. That's cool. Knowledge is power. You may play the top card of your library if you cast a spell this way. Pay life equal to its converted mana cost rather than pay its mana cost. But the huge, crazy, crazy, crazy sauce. Tap it, sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. Wow! Okay, that is huge. You sacrifice and you win the game. Great way to close out the game. Great way. Karn's Bastian, $4.84. This is a must-have for any deck splashing +1/+1 counters. It's that simple. My opinion is, I'll give my opinion if I think these cards are going to go up or down in value. I'd also like to hear what you guys think. What is going to be a card that's really going to go up in value? You know, maybe the more likes in the comment section, you know, that'll show maybe that card's going to go up in value. People will agree with it. I don't know. So let me know your opinions. Out of all these cards, which one you think has potential to go up and which one to go down? Also, something to consider, this is pre-release weekend right before. The hype is real, so a lot of these cards are inflated. The majority of these cards are going to probably decline 20-30% over the next week. That's just the way it goes. But some of these cards may surprise us and jump up in price, and some may just stay the same. But for 4, you tap it, proliferate. This is on a land card. That's really, really big. There's even ways to untap this and do it again. So twice you can proliferate in one turn. That's pretty nuts. I'm sure there's ways to even do it 3 times, you know, depending on how much mana you have at your disposal. Really cool card. $5.09. God Eternal Ronis. 5-drop. This thing was a little higher in price, but now it's come down. Game finisher, especially in trample builds. You better believe it. It's got Death Touch, which is already pretty cool. Deal with some pesky, you know, larger creatures, I suppose. And it comes back in about 3 turns. Well, depending on your card draw, you can get this thing back in a turn. When God Eternal Ronis enters the battlefield, double the power of each other creature you control until end of turn. I thought it'd be just fantastic in trample builds. Anything running trample, you know, even 3/3 trample, 4/4 trample, whatever, you know, get a bunch of these smaller trample cards out, and then you drop God Eternal, boom, game over, you know, as early as turn 4, turn 5. I mean, depending, you know, games are nuts. You never know what's going to happen, but I can see this card, honestly, probably staying around where it's at. As far as being like in EDH, as a commander, yeah, I suppose it could be, but there's not really any tribal, there's not a whole lot of tribal synergy here. zombie god. It's a god and zombie. It's a green zombie. Where's the tribal synergy if you're trying to build around it? That's all I'm saying. But as far as just being powerful and, just devastating an opponent, it could come in handy. I'm just saying. It's good. 509, I think, is a respectful price. God Eternal Bantu. I really, really like this card. I want to combo it with another god. I want to build a deck around these guys. Maybe like 3 of both. We'll get to that in a second. $5.74. Huge threat. Huge card draw. I even misplayed this thing. When you first start playing with cards, you're like, whoops. I had one of those moments during a live stream on Twitch, which made its way into a video. But we still ended up winning 7. All 7 in the event. It was a sealed kind of like draft thing, basically like a pre-release kit, what everyone's going through this weekend. But it does have Menace. When God Eternal Bounty enters the battlefield, sacrifice any number of other permanents, then draw that many cards. I had like 10 lands out, and I neglected to realize I could sacrifice my lands. I wasn't even thinking. It was like game 5 or 6. It was a terrible misplay. But I could have had a ridiculous amount of card draw, because I think the highest casting spell in my entire deck, I think I had a Liliana. Yeah, I know. It was an insane pre-release. But anyway, it can come back after, within 3 turns, depending on your card draw again, yada, 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 and go back into your hand. Pretty sweet. 574. This card's really hard to get rid of unless it's discarded. If someone makes you discard it, well, that stinks. Same for all the other gods, basically. Dreadhorde Arcanist, 597. This card caught me by surprise also. I knew it was powerful, but I didn't know how powerful. The bigger its power, the better. Yeah, of course. I know. It's kind of simple and cut and dry, but really, when you pump this thing up, you can bring back larger instants and sorceries. It has Trample. It's a 1/3. Whenever Dreadhorde Arcanist attacks, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost less than or equal to Dreadhorde Arcanist power from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. That's pretty huge. Of course, the card does get exiled, though. But $5.97, I would expect this to slightly tick down. I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there. It is a powerful card, but again, the right synergy, this thing's nuts. 620, Gideon, the Oathsworn. The artwork I just didn't really care much for, and I think a lot of you did agree with that. But nonetheless, it's not bad. But $6.20, very underwhelming. But what do you expect from Planeswalker deck design? I mean, that's just what you get. It's not going to be competitive. Interesting card, but just very underwhelming. All these Planeswalker cards, and it only comes in foil, by the way. All these Planeswalker deck design cards, they all are very underwhelming. And if you notice, there's kind of a trend. They're either 5, 6, or 7 to cast. I think there was one occasion where there was an 8. Ridiculous. Just doesn't see competitive play, but nonetheless, cool card. God Eternal Oketra, $6.44. This is the other God card I'd like to make a deck with. 3 of this and 3 of Bantu. I think that'd be pretty sweet. I have noticed there can be some synergy between the two, especially just to draw cards. That's basically where I'm looking at. The other god comes in, draws cards. This thing just keeps dropping. You just keep dropping creatures left and right, but the acceleration to get to those cards and the card draw between the two can be pretty cool. I'm not going to get too carried away, but in ways it's similar to Scarab God. And if Scarab God and this thing fought, I think this would win. Call me crazy, but we all know Scarab God during its tirade, or whatever you want to call it. During its power days, I mean, in Standard, Scarab God, I conceded so many matches when I seen that thing hit the battlefield. It was kind of similar to how Teferi is now. But God Eternal is a powerful card, $6.44. I think it might be a little high, unless it finds some crazy synergy in these God builds where gods are just extremely impactful in this Standard. If that happens, then you can expect it to go up, but I do see it coming down at probably like $5. Call me crazy. Jace Arcane Strategist, $7.24. This thing's way overpriced. Probably going to drop to like $3. Only printed in foil. It's exclusive to Planeswalker decks yet again. It's a cool card, I must say. I mean, you got a +1 to draw a card. -7 creatures you control can't be blocked this turn. It's in blue. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature control. The cool thing about this card, it does say each turn. So essentially, within one full turn, you could have 4 cards. You could have drawn 4 cards. Not too bad. Jace, I do like the artwork. It is kind of plain though, but just, the aura, his little power beams. I like that kind of stuff. Only in foil, guys. Not competitive play. Blast Zone, $7.50. This is one of those cards that could tick up, but I'm also thinking it might go down. It's really, really similar to Engineered Explosives, but if you had your choice between this and engineered explosives, you're probably going to want to go with engineered explosives. However, this is a land, so it does produce some mana. You know, you tap it and you add 1 devoid colorless mana to your mana pool. Pretty sweet. It is a powerful card. I was able to use it and actually take out a creature and win the game using Blast Zone. I was lucky enough to get this in my draft, or in my sealed, and it was pretty cool. This card, I can see it going down before it goes up. I will tell you that. Finale of Promise, $8.13. This thing was jacked up to like $14 a few days ago. I mean, people just go crazy because I think, and that's in the beginning, because a lot of sellers or stores, they know people are excited and they're willing to pay a higher price. So this was like $14 not long ago. It's at $8.13. An interesting turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 here. And credit goes to Attracted over on Reddit. Turn 1, Swift Spear. All right, opponent's at 19. Turn 2, Bolt plus Spike. Pumping Swift Spear, +2/+2. They're 10. Turn 3, Finale. X equals 1, targeting Bolt and Spike, pumping Swift Spear, +3/+3. Opponent is dead. In a perfect world, of course. But there's a fun little interesting turn 3 that Attracted threw up there. Appreciate Attracted. Finale of Promise, they're maybe. I do think a lot of these are going to drop in price, but EDH is what's keeping these expensive. And I think it's going to continue. I don't think they're going to drop too much. This card, for example, might drop to like $4 or $5. But over time, expect these kind of cards to go back up. So when it hits a low, I would say it's time to buy. If this thing hits around $3 or $4, start buying them, because I don't think they're going to drop too much lower than $3. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Ugin the Ineffable. Who saw the card I pulled? I pulled the foil version of this. I wish I could just whip it out and show you guys right now. What? $8.51. Recent hype in EDH Eldrazi. The Command Zone has been making some amazing decks. A couple in particular that have been running, colorless. It's just been all about colorless. So that is kind of driving up the price of Ineffable right now, but it is a good card nonetheless. I mean, colorless spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Its +1's not bad. Its -3 is great. We'll see how it pans out. As far as being in Standard, I don't know, man. I just don't think they have it yet. I think this could be a sign we may see Eldrazi return. I'm crazy, I understand, but Ugin's back. We might see some Eldrazi. I don't know. Not now, of course, but maybe the next set or the set after. Call me crazy. Finale of Devastation, $9.70. Hot in EDH. All of these are hot in EDH due to recent powerful green creature spells and decks. Command Zone again. But just really the introduction of a lot of very powerful green cards and spells has made this what it is. It's another one of those sorcery cards. I don't think it's going to stay at $9.70. I believe it's going to drop, but it is a powerful card. You can search your library and or graveyard for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less and put it on the battlefield. These things are nuts for Commander. This is why, because of the secondary thing. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If X, this is it, is 10 or more, creatures you control get +X and gain haste until end of turn. Bam! Game is like over. I mean, that just closes out the match so quickly. It's definitely devastating for sure. Karn the Great Creator, $9.92. I know. Combo's great with MYCOSYNTH. Lattice. I said it right earlier. Basically turning your opponent's lands into 0/0 creatures, destroying them. One at a time. Liquid Metal Coating as well is another card you can use instead of the Lattice. But Karn the Great Creator. I don't know how much. I think more maybe vintage, play he might see. A little bit command. I mean, it really all depends, but he's a powerful card. I just don't think he's got enough right now in Standard backing him to make him truly powerful. He needs a little something more. God Eternal Kefnet, $11. Hooray! Most improved God of War of the Spark. By far. The last time we saw Kefnet, he stunk. Let's face facts. During that just awful Amonkhet Hour of Devastation block, the God Kefnet was just a disgrace. He was not good. He never saw play. I think he's like 35, 40 cents right now. It's just not anything spectacular. I don't think it'll ever go up in value either. It is a 4-drop. It's got the flying. It's a 4/5, and it comes with some really cool perks. $11. Right now, I would expect it to stay around that price. I know. Maybe a tiny downtick again. The raised board. This thing shot up all the way. When it first came out, $17. Rightfully so. I mean, the artwork on this thing is cool too. I like that like hot green mohawk he's got going on. If you saw this thing, man, I would flip. When I first looked at this card, I thought this right here was like tree branches and stuff. No, guys, those are actually people. That is correct. Those are people. How insane is that? So this thing's monstrous. I'm just throwing it out there. But when it attacks, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking, return that creature to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. You give this something like, if you can give this sucker haste, you're going to pound town on your opponent, man, in the right kind of build. You know, you got some dragons sitting in your hand or whatever in standard. I mean, just any format, really. I'd like to see this thing take off in Commander as well. But, man, best god in the set? It's an argument. What do you think? I think it's probably the best card in the set. Not best card, but best god in the set. We will see. Time will tell. $11.83. Again, a tiny tick down, but not much. Maybe like down to like $8 in like a week or so. Teferi Time Raveler, $14.85. I pulled one, and the darn thing was messed up. So I gave you guys a chance to win it. If you go to the last video. Counter Control. That is Teferi's job basically. Each opponent can't cast spells. Each opponent can cast spells only anytime they could cast a sorcery. So if you can get this sucker to drop, I mean, just think of how many counters your opponent's running. They really can't cast them anymore now, can they? And especially not on your turn. It shuts down control builds. I do like that. And it's ironic because he is in control colors as well. I mean, at least lately, you know, these two have been blending ridiculous, making very powerful decks. It's been crazy. +1 until your next turn. You may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. That's phenomenal. And it's -3. Return up to one target artifact, creature, or enchantment to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Very powerful card. $14.85 though. It's a rare. I can only expect this to go down slightly. Like, again, a lot of these cards are going to go down. But I think it should maintain around a $10 to a $12 price point. It all depends what happens this weekend at pre-release. But definitely sideboard king of this set. Without a doubt. Gideon Blackblade. This thing has kind of maintained its value. Since I was looking at prices a few days ago. It was about, I think, $15, $16. Guess what? This is all market price from TCG Player. It's still about $15, $15.48. It will see play in standard for sure. And amongst all the other cards, I think this is one that's going to just branch out into all the other formats for sure, including modern. It's just a very powerful card. Gideon Blackblade will see play. If you get this in your pre-release kit, you're going to win. That's it. Maybe not win exactly, but you're going to have a really good advantage over your opponent or any god cards. Something to keep in mind. $15.48. I think it's going to stay around that price. I really, really do. Liliana Dreadhorde General, $20 on the money, man. $20. Powerful, but it is a steep casting cost. I guess in the right control build, maybe. I mean, I don't know where Liliana's going to fit in. 6 is a lot. As we have noticed, a lot of Planeswalkers, depending on their color, really, they don't seem to make it if the casting cost is too high. Teferi is just Teferi. Okay, it's hard to argue that one, but it's 6 to bring this thing out. If this was 5, wow. I could not even argue its potential. But its +1's great. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Every turn you can +1 it. Just spitting out tokens. -4. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures. That's cool, but it's each player. But I understand we're in black, so it works out. -9, each opponent chooses a permanent they control of each permanent type and sacrifices the rest. So definitely you got to be running some synergy with Liliana Dreadhorde General to really maximize its potential. $20 card. We are getting into the top 2 right now. Number Deuce, Nicole Bolas, Dragon God. $24.91. Again, depending how this thing does, will depict the price, moving forward. Same with all these cards. It is the top dog. Combos nicely with Jace, Cunning Castaway, creating infinite copies of itself. Pretty sweet. Just to go over this card one more time, 5-drop. Dragon God has all loyalty abilities of all other planeswalkers on the battlefield, and that allows him to make copies of himself if you have Jace out, because Jace makes a copy of itself. It's crazy. Plus one, and it's not legendary. You draw a card. Each opponent exiles a card from their hand or a permanent they control. Sweet sauce. -3, destroy target creature or planeswalker. That's mind-boggling. -8, you win the game. Basically, each opponent who doesn't control a legendary creature or planeswalker loses a game. That's pretty sweet. It's just a very powerful card, devastating to the max. I love Bolas. I still want to see Urza. Every time I see Bolas, I just think, man, Urza would whoop your butt, bro. I know, the whole Karn thing. Decapitate. I get it, all right? I do get it. We've got high hopes. All right, Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge. $26.45. EDH for now. I don't know how much play this is going to see right now in Standard. Creatures and planeswalker spells you cast have affinity for artifacts, which is pretty powerful. +2, Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge, deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of artifacts you control. You gain X life. -3, returns our artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. It's all about the artifacts with this thing, which tells me we're going to be finding some hefty, nifty artifacts coming up soon. I think we're in for a really big surprise with Eldrazi and some artifacts and just a lot of colorless stuff. Call me crazy, I understand. Expect the price to gradually fall. And the reason for this is because it is the promo card you get with the buy a box, all right? So $26.45, this thing started out at like $40-50. The hype was real. It plummeted all the way down to where it's at right now, $26-27. You can get yourself some copies. I think I've seen some floating on eBay for $24.99. So, think about that. I do see this dropping to about $20 within a week. That is all the spoilers, guys. Not spoilers, but price points, market. I didn't spoiler so many times. It's crazy. Let me know your thoughts on this. And also, if there's any decks out there you're interested in seeing, let me know in the comments. If you're not subscribed, by all means, go get checked out at a doctor. Probably something wrong with you. Definitely. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, skadoosh.